Hello everyone, Mr. Cruze here, working through the Chapter 8 review. Remember your test is tomorrow, February 1st. Your test has 17 questions, just like your review. In this video I'm going to do the first part of the review. The first few problems just ask you to simplify and state restrictions on the variable. A lot of people on the quiz forgot to state restrictions, so make sure you do that if they ask for it. Okay? Simplifying is pretty easy. Make sure you factor. What multiplies to negative 24 and adds to negative 5? Well, that would be negative 8 and positive 3. And you have x plus 3 in the denominator. The only restriction is, of course, x cannot equal negative 3. That's because the denominator can't be 0. Now you can feel free to cancel. And what are we left with? We're left with x minus 8, as long as x is not equal to negative 3. Problem 2, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom and then cancel, or you can cross cancel. I'm going to do the former. Multiply straight across the top. 2 times 5 is 10. X to the 4th, y cubed. Those do not combine in any way. 10 times 4 is 40, and then we have x cubed y. Now, of course, x and y can't be 0 in this case, because if they were, that would make my denominator 0, and that cannot happen. The only other thing to check is what reduces. Well, 10 goes into itself once, and it goes into 40 4 times. X to the 4th, I have 4 of them in the numerator, and x to the 3rd, so I have 3 of them in the denominator. Well, that means 3 of them are going to cancel, leaving me with 1 in the numerator. Same with y cubes. I have 3 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. Well, 1's going to cancel, leaving me with 2 in the numerator. So, in the numerator we have 1 x to the 1st, y to the 2nd. You don't need the 1. Over, the only thing in the denominator is a 4. Okay? As long as x and y aren't 0. Number 3 is division. Make sure you notice that it's division. Alright. X squared minus 4 factors into x minus 2 and x plus 2. X squared plus 6x plus 9 factors into x plus 3 times x plus 3. Remember, I'm keep flip changing, so these two switch places. So x squared minus 9 is x minus 3 and x plus 3 over your denominator, which factors into x plus 2 and x plus 2. Now, you have to figure out what x can't be before we cancel. This one tells me x can't be negative 3. So does that one. This one tells me x can't be negative 2. So does that one. And the only thing is, remember this, which is this now, those were both in the denominator to begin with. So now technically I also have to check these two. And this would tell me x can't equal 3 as well. Now you may cancel. This x plus 3 and this x plus 3 cancel. Let's see, x plus 2's cancel. And that is it for that. So, it factors into x minus 2 and x minus 3. And in the denominator, we have x plus 3 times x plus 2. You do not have to FOIL those out. You can if you want to, but I feel like that's just another place to make a mistake. Okay? Number 4, x squared over x plus 5 times x squared minus x minus 30. So, the first part, there's nothing really to factor. It's the second part you actually have to factor. What multiplies to negative 30 and adds to negative 1? Well, that'd be negative 6 and positive 5. Over x squared minus 2x. A lot of us forgot that we can look for common factors. You can pull out an x, and you're left with x minus 2. Right? Well, now what can x not be? We might as well go ahead and say that. X can't be negative 5. From this one, it can't be 0. And from this one, it can't be 2. Okay? Don't have to check the numerator on this one because this was multiply, not division. Okay? Now you may cancel. Pretty obvious the x plus 5's cancel. But what's not as obvious is that this x here and this x squared actually can cancel with each other. 2 of them in the numerator, 1 of them in the denominator. So the one in the denominator goes away, bringing this one down to an x to the 1st. So you're left with x times x minus 6 over x minus 2. Alright. Be aware, too, you could distribute that x in the top if you wanted to. Alright. Let me get rid of my circle. Didn't leave myself enough room there. This one, number 5. It's division. Okay, so I know I'm going to have to keep flip change. So, keep the first fraction. Well, what multiplies to negative 15 and adds to 2? That would be x plus 5 and x minus 3 over x squared minus 16 is x minus 4 and x plus 4 times now, and I'm flipping it. Well, what comes out of 3x minus 12? That would be a 3, and you'd be left with x minus 4 over x plus 1, of course. So what can x not be? 4, negative 4, negative 1, and again, because it's division, you have to check the numerator. But the only other thing it can't be is 4, which you already said. Okay? Cancel, cancel. X minus 4's go away. And in all honesty, that appears to be it. So it is x plus 5 times x minus 3 times 3. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the front. Over x plus 4 times x plus 1. Okay? And 6 is very straightforward. X squared plus 7x plus 10 over x squared minus 3x minus 10. X squared plus 7x plus 10 factors into x plus 5 times x plus 2. And x squared minus 3x minus 10 becomes x minus 5 and x plus 2. Obviously, x can't be 5 or negative 2, and the only thing that cancels is the x plus 2's. You may not cancel the x plus 5 and the x minus 5. Yes, they both have an x, and yes, they do both involve a 5, but they cannot cancel. X plus 5 is a different number than x minus 5. Alright? You cannot cancel those. Number 7 asks you to describe the vertical asymptotes and holes for this graph. Well, remember, you're just looking at the denominator. Okay, what can x not equal? So, the first number that x can't be is negative 7. Okay? The other number it can't be, if I were to set 2x minus 1 equal to 0, the other number is 1/2. Okay? Now we just have to figure out holes or asymptotes. Remember, hole if it cancels, vertical asymptote if it does not. Okay? So the x plus 7's cancel, which means x equals negative 7 is a hole in the graph. Does the 2x minus 1 cancel? No. So this is a vertical asymptote. Okay? So you'd say a hole at negative 7 and a vertical asymptote at 1/2. Points of discontinuity are basically the same thing, just without the hole and vertical asymptote. Although if you put them, I wouldn't be too concerned, as long as you did them correctly. X squared minus 8x minus 20 factors into x minus 10 and x plus 2 over 20 and 12 would be plus 10 and plus 2. So, what can x not equal? Well, your points of discontinuity are at x equals negative 10 and at x equals negative 2. You'll notice I put equals and not the not equals because you only put the not equals when there are restrictions, like up here. Okay? So be careful. And lastly, find the sum or difference, okay? Remember to add or subtract fractions. By the way, you'll notice state any restrictions. You need common denominators. Only for adding and subtracting. Okay? Well, you notice they both have a y minus 2. They already have common denominators. So, I'm going to write them as one fraction just so you can see what happens. That means this becomes y minus 5 plus 7. A lot of you didn't realize on the quiz, those actually add together. What's negative 5 plus 7? Well, that's y plus 2. Okay? Do these cancel? Nope. We just have to state the restrictions. What can y not be? Y can't equal 2, of course. Alright? Number 9 is not as easy because technically these don't have common denominators yet. By the way, I'm not sure why the y equals is there. Okay, just a typo. Don't need it. So we have 5 over x minus 5 plus, I'm going to go ahead and factor this side, 3 over x minus 5, x plus 5. So what's the left denominator missing? it's missing an x plus 5. So I have to multiply the numerator and the denominator, the top and the bottom, by x plus 5. And then this is just distributing. 5 times x plus 5 is 5x plus 25 over your common denominator. Plus, and then we didn't have to adjust this side at all. And you'll notice, although I wrote them in a different order, their denominators are the same. So now you can just add straight across the top. 5x plus 25 plus 3 is 5x plus 28 over your common denominator of x minus 5 times x plus 5. By the way, what can x not equal? 5 or negative 5.